Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Coming up here pretty soon, we are going to see the Season 3 Reloaded update, or the mid-season update for Season 3 here in Warzone. And as per usual with any major mid-season or seasonal launch update, we're expecting a ton of new weapon tuning and weapon changes to be added into the game with this patch. And so today, I wanted to sort of preview what changes you should probably expect for this next update based on the trends of the current meta right now. As we go through it all today, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with everything going on in COD, so feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. And also right now, all throughout the weekend, I think through Monday, my G Fuel discount code WhosImmortal is actually boosted back up to 30% off for the time being. So if you want to grab a new tub, a shaker cup, a starter pack, anything at all from the G Fuel site, code WhosImmortal has you covered. Link will be down in the description below. So a lot of the conversation that I want to bring up today can actually be visualized here from Warzone Ranked. This is a great site for just seeing what the general meta is like in Warzone, where it clearly shows what weapons are being used the most, what weapons have the highest KD, what weapons have the highest win rate. Somehow the combat shield from Vanguard has the highest win rate right now in Warzone. But this is a great site to sort of contextualize information that is used to further help develop what we can expect for future updates. There's a few things to consider when it comes to why Raven makes certain changes. Ultimately, they're pushing for the most diverse meta possible, so you can have as many different weapons in your loadouts and they'll all be able to compete, right? They're also looking to make sure certain weapons aren't ridiculously dominant in terms of everyone's using this, and also everyone's really good with this. Usually there's a correlation when a weapon starts to be used a lot more and the pick rate goes up and up and up. The general overall average KD for that gun goes down and down and down, because as more casual players, sort of pick up that meta gun, they sort of bring the stats down a little bit more. Whereas if there's a gun that's very hard to use, maybe used by 3% of the population, but it has a 1.4 KD because it's hard to use and only good players are using it, maybe it's a little bit more balanced there. It's that high risk, high reward. But that said, there are several changes I would expect with this next weapon update. First and foremost, I mean, just what I was talking about here, weapons that stand out with an extreme pick rate. The STG right now is almost double in terms of the pick rate as the next highest picked weapon, which is the MP40. This is for a handful of reasons. One, they just dropped the whole Operation Monarch bundles, which obviously has like the Godzilla STG, and it also conveniently, right before that bundle dropped, got a very significant buff that makes the STG essentially the best long-range gun in the game in terms of overall TTK. It's also low recoil, so it's very easy to use. Basically, low risk, high reward, the reverse of what a balanced weapon would be in that sense, and it's clearly showing in the pick rate. So once Operation Monarch is done, I fully expect us to see maybe a slight STG nerf to probably give it at least a damage drop off significant enough to allow it to compete more with some of these other rifles that are good, but the STG is just significantly better. Or maybe they hurt the recoil on it and balance it out that way, like the AMAX. Fantastic TTK, not so great recoil, so it's sort of balanced out in that sense. I do see some changes coming to the STG though, at least in my opinion. Also, while we're generally just talking about the rifles here, the Vanguard rifles definitely need some work to be able to compete with the other rifles in the game. I mean, the STG is basically the lone exception here, but you look at the other top rifles in the game right now in terms of AR. Cold War, the Cooper Carbine's there because it's super easy to use, but you can notice it also has a below average KD, so it's not really a super competitive weapon. Players like it because it has no recoil. But Kilo is still up there somehow. The AK from Cold War obviously is ridiculously good. The M4 is up there. We got things like the Vargo, the Farah is here as well. There's a lot of rifles in the game right now that are significantly better than Vanguard guns between Cold War and MW, and I would imagine they probably try and make those compete a little bit more. You know, things like the Volk, the NZ, the Nikita, the KGM40, they're decent, but they're nowhere near worth using over an STG, an XM4, even things like the Kilo, the AK, obviously, Farah, Vargo, so on and so forth. Like, there's just a clear imbalance in the rifle category. Now, speaking of imbalances, the same thing can also be applied to the SMG category as well. One specific change I expect to see is to the Owen gun here. You can see it's got the third highest pick rate, but it also has the highest KD out of every gun in the game. Why? Well, because nothing in the SMG category competes with the Owen. There's like 3 or 4 different builds you can use for the Owen that all dominate. They're all like the best close range options and even the best sniper support options by a mile. So I fully expect the Owen is going to see some changes here, some nerfs to bring it more in line with some of these other subs like the Well gun, like the Milano, these other subs, Mac 10 PPSH from Vanguard, obviously Type 100. Even like there's just such an imbalance with the Owen right now. it is kind of wild. Also, on top of that, with the mid-season update, we should be getting the brand new H4 Blixen SMG, and usually the mid-season update weapons are pretty good because they always drop with a bundle right away, which is going to make them money, obviously, and then a free challenge that's usually kind of obnoxious and tedious to sort of promote buying that bundle first, right? Then you unlock the weapon over time. Usually the mid-season guns, like the well gun dropped in mid-season, I'm pretty sure, clearly one of the best options in the game. I mean, it's like the 7th most picked here, so I would expect the H4 Blixen to probably shake up the SMG meta a bit, but my point still stands. I think the Owen gun needs a nerf, and just in general, Vanguard subs dominate the SMG meta. MP40, Vanguard sub. Owen gun, Vanguard sub. Well gun, Vanguard sub. The closest SMG is the Milano, and people really aren't using that in the SMG range. They're using that for sniper support, so that's not even a great SMG choice. The Mac 10 is up there, somehow even having a bad TTK. I would expect things like the MP5 and the OTS to be a little bit higher than they are here with a 1.19 even, and the MW with a 137 MW MP5 that is, but Vanguard subs, you don't really have a reason to go for things like the Milano, the OTS, so on and so forth, because they all have low recoil, insane mobility. You can get next to no recoil because of all the attachments. They have great magazine capacities all around, pretty much. Like, there's just no beating Vanguard subs for close range. There's another, like I said earlier with the rifles, a clear imbalance there. So I feel like they could see some large nerfs across all the Vanguard subs, or maybe, who knows, they're not super keen, it seems like, on buffing a lot of the Cold War or Modern Warfare guns anymore, but maybe we see some buffs to the Mac 10, to some of these other, you know, Cold War and Modern Warfare SMGs, just to make them a little bit more competitive if they think the Vanguard subs TTK is the most optimal spot for them. And then finally, the last one I want to preview, because honestly, when it comes down to it, I mean, I think a good meta is where you have a ton of guns above a 1% pick rate, and we'd have to scroll all the way down to the Bullfrog here, which is above a 1. That's the last one we have above a 1, which is pretty solid. Like, that's a good amount of weapons here. That's a pretty healthy meta in general, but that said, I do think we still probably need to see some sniper adjustments specifically to the Vanguard snipes. Obviously, we just had the huge sniper meta shift. I feel like that was made to try and promote more usage of alternative snipers, especially the Vanguard ones, and none of them are really that good. Most used snipers here, HDR. I mean, that's nothing special. We all sort of saw that one coming. The car is still up there for aggressive sniping, but it's obviously not really all that great anymore. The AX50 is the next best sniper. ZRG after that. Swiss after that. Then we got to go all the way down to a 0.50% pick rate to find the Kar 98K, which isn't even the best Vanguard sniper. I'd say it's probably the 3 line, and it's down there at a 0.4% pick rate. So there's really just no competition in the sniper meta right now, despite all those changes being made to try and promote a little bit more competition in the sniper meta and make your picks a little bit more tactical because of the one-shot headshot limit, obviously. So I would expect to see maybe some more tuning to snipers as well. But I mean, when we look at our general meta list here, between top meta and competitive, we do have a very, very solid list of weapons. This is a ton of options to choose from. Yeah, viable. I'd like to see a lot of these weapons maybe become a little bit more competitive so that we could have even more options, but it does become very tricky with how you want to mess with certain things, just because this meta right now, only so much can be done to make this even more diverse than what it already is. And I think we highlighted those pretty well in this video. The Owen gun, very dominant. The STG, very dominant. Vanguard subs in general are just kind of wild. So I'm curious to see how we can open up this more, if that means nerfs to certain weapons here so that we fill out the competitive category more, or if we do end up seeing some buffs to certain viable guns to bring them up. The only thing with that is that they're trying to focus on having a lower TTK and a slower TTK around 300 health. If you end up buffing a lot of these guns, you might mess with that overall TTK a little bit, and so it's closer to everyone getting fried again, which is a concern as well. So there are gonna need to be some changes with this meta update with Season 3 Reloaded. I'm curious to see if we see some surprise ones, though. I think the obvious ones we outlined here. And that said, that is gonna wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD. So feel free to subscribe with those notifications turned on. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.